what happened was Hawaii wasn't able to get much food, but they were able to get a lot of spam, and spam pretty much lasts forever. There's practically no expiry date, and that's how they survived. And they showcased that sushi spam.
How did it get to, oh, so they created it and then Japan just adopted it?
I don't know if Japan actually uses it. And I know, like I'm saying, like maybe it's Japanese, like Japanese Hawaiians.
Mm.
You know, interesting, the way we're talking to the food, it's almost like restaurant to another world.
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
So the way we're talking about the food, like, yeah, we come here for the food, it's almost like, it's just almost like the premise for a restaurant to another world.
Oh.
See, yeah, because you see, there's all these people in this fantasy world, but they make an effort to come to this restaurant every 7 days, because what happens, like, there's a door that comes every 7 days, so they go into that door and partake on the restaurant food. You know, usually a lot of patrons who go there usually order one particular dish, and usually nicknamed after that, because they usually order that a lot.
That reminds me of how some sushi restaurants, they create their own like sushi roll and call it the name of the city the restaurant's in.
Yeah.
So for those of you who just joined, we'll get started around 3:10. We're just waiting for more people to flow in.
Brought a lot of things for show and tell. I have a whole box of stuff here. And for Martin, I brought the bears.
Oh yes. We've had this. Apparently, I'm not the only one who thought about this, but apparently when you put a bunch of those Salmon the Bear characters together, they almost look like some kind of plushie mob.
Yeah, especially if they're like towering over you.
Yeah.
Maybe not without the fish, but
I don't know. They almost look like some kind of mob trying to extort money out of another plushie.
Oh yeah, I should use this opportunity to find that picture. What year was that? I think I even have the picture my friend photoshopped.
Yeah. The only thing I could find on Salmon the Bear on YouTube were people trying to win Salmon the Bear in the claw machines.
Were they successful?
Yes, they got the bears.
Nice. How much time? Okay, I have 6 minutes to find this photo. Oh wait, I think, did I find it? I saw a glimpse of it.
Yeah. Oh, one interesting thing about the restaurant to another world. So considering these are all different types of people that come into the restaurants, the interesting thing is that apparently, even though they're from different parts of their world, they never talk about politics in the restaurant. Actually, if there's ever any argument that usually occurs in the restaurant, they usually argue where they say like their dish is the best. Yeah.
I found a photo of the bears that I took, but I don't see the photo my friend edited to make it look like mafia. Unless, I don't know if I posted on Instagram. I cannot find that edited one, but I have the mob looking one. People can use their imagination, I guess.
Yeah. You know what? I think I have a theory as to why the Sam and the bears look menacing when you put them together. It's the body proportions compared to the other plushies.
Oh, that could be it. Yeah, Salmon is very tall.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the tallest plushies I have.
Okay, so it is 3:10. Martin, Jennifer, we're all set?
Okay.
Okay, great. So
Yes.
let's get started. Well, firstly, welcome everyone to our convention dealer Q&A featuring the Littlest Gift Boutique, Jennifer. Hello. And thank you everyone for making time for us today and spending your Saturday afternoon with us. So we're just going to quickly introduce ourselves. I'll start with myself first. My name is Sabrina. Nice to meet everyone. And I created Anime Fan Club so fans can enjoy anime, manga, games, and panels together. And that's why today, Jennifer, Martin, and I are very excited to share this panel with everyone. We've been working on this for a very long time. And our goal today was to share the behind the scenes of what convention dealers go through. So Jennifer today will share us about her business, how she got started, and what she's going through right now that conventions are canceled. So Jennifer, would you like to say a few things about yourself?
Yes, my name is Jennifer. I am the owner of the Littlest Gift Boutique. I started this 2012. And later I'll show you pictures of the progression at one of the conventions I go to, Anime North. So you can see how I grew from one booth to like 2 booths. I try to get 3, but AN won't give it to me.
So we're really excited to hear your story.
Yeah, I'm really excited to share it about it too. And it's not often that I get to share what goes on my end. So very excited for that. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, thank you for being here. And we also have Martin today. And Martin here is an industry expert about every matter relating to fan conventions. So introduce yourself, Martin, say a few things.
Hi. Other than having a lot of experience going at anime conventions, also being a member of the Anime North staff, I've also worked with Chorus Entertainment, so I also get a unique perspective on the anime industry and the TV industry as well. And the neat thing about this is that because the conventions have to close down because of the current COVID situation, we always figured this is now the perfect opportunity to do something different. So given a new learning opportunity for people to know some of the other things that go on behind the conventions, things that were never asked before.
Yes, so we are bringing you a very unique perspective today, and that's why we're so excited to share this panel. Thank you so much, Martin. So before we get started, I just want to make sure that everyone's mic is muted throughout the panel. If anyone have any questions, you can just type it in the chat and we'll get to it during the panel. And lastly, the giveaway winner will be announced once the panel is over. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Martin, who will be hosting today's panel with Jennifer. Go right ahead.
Okay. So actually, I think one of the best things we want to talk about the Littlest Gift Boutique. Now, the Littlest Gift Boutique has been very well known for selling Japanese plushies. Like usually if you go to a lot of the Toronto conventions, you've probably seen a huge display of Japanese plush. But the interesting thing is that the Littlest Gift Boutique really didn't get started from selling Japanese plush. Jennifer, could you tell us about the origin story about the Littlest Gift Boutique and and how it didn't even start with Japanese plush?
Yes, so I used to work full-time for a wholesale company, and they sold a lot of fashion accessories like jewelry, scarves, bracelets and stuff. So back then there was some merchandise that wasn't really moving, and then I was thinking, oh, why won't I just take some of this and try to sell it at events? And I remember at that time I was even cosplaying when I go to Anime North, that I was like, oh, Anime North has a dealer's room. Why don't I just try to get a table and sell some of these things? So I applied and I got a table, and that's how it all began. I can show you guys a picture of how it looks. Let me find the photo. The very first Anime North, it was like the most bare bones setup. Let's see. So let me know if you're able to see the picture.
Oh.
Is it showing up for you guys?
Yep. And
Okay.
It just shows one booth and window space.
It's just one booth, and there's a window space here where I sat and I could see people and interact with. As you can see, there's only like 6 cubes here, a few things in here. But here you can see the jewelry that I sold, Hello Kitty necklaces, Tinkerbell. I have some stars and hearts, and then headbands. These beaded coin purses, these are all handmade. And then Momiji dolls, light up figures, some plush, just to fill the space. Ugly dolls. This is my first booth ever selling. And I had some cell phone sticker cover here, bracelet stand. So you can see the humble beginnings. And the back here is a stand to show the rest of the coin purse designs. And they can see my Sona harp from League of Legends because I used to cosplay, so this was my prop. They had a League of Legends photo shoot that day, so I left for that photo shoot with my heart. But it was, when I think about it now, I'm like, I can't believe I cosplay and ran this, because I absolutely can't do that right now. Because the whole thing with cosplaying, you know, last minute, trying to sew everything together, I can't last minute anymore. My last minute is just making sure I don't forget to bring anything for the booth. But here you can see the beginnings of that. Let me see if I can show. Yeah, that was the harp, and then the back.
Okay.
There was so much space back there. Yeah, this is my second year or third year, I think. I can't find the second year photo, but this is third year. So I added an extra table, L shape, and then there's like a little bit more merchandise now. But that's a glimpse of the beginnings. It's much different now.
Has your booth always been in that area of anime noise throughout all the time now?
No, they moved me 3 times. And then the 4th year, this was at Atomic Lollipop as like a similar merchandise. Other smaller cons. This is at Fanfare.
Yeah.
Hosted by Con Bravo. Oh, right. Let me see if I can find.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So this is the permanent location of my booth.
Yeah, and I see you also brought in My Little Pony merchandise at the time.
Yeah. Back then, I did carry My Little Pony, the Funko Pops, plushies. I had some Attack on Titan things. I was still figuring out what my audience, or who my audience were, what they liked.
Right. Yeah. Were the alpacas like the first type of Japanese plus merchandise?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
The alpacas, were
Yeah.
they the first type of Japanese plus merchandise you ever brought in?
Yes. I remember someone came up to my booth and they asked, do I sell alpacaso? And I was like, oh, what's that? And they showed me a picture. And then from then I started to look up like where to get them, why they were so popular. And then from there I was exposed to like the Japanese market and all the plushies, stationery, home goods that they had to offer.
Right. So as time went by, you started to buy like more and more of the Japanese plush. So.
Yeah, it's something I liked more than North American plushies. North American would be like Aurora, Gund, but there's something about the Japanese ones stand out for me. I think because the stories that they create with the plushies versus just creating a cute animal character or plush.
Yeah. Can you describe the feeling that people get like the first time that they touch the Japanese plush, thinking if it's worth buying or not? Oh,
they are so happy and elated whenever they like touch mochi ones like these. Like these are super soft. Yeah. But every time they come by, they're like, wow, they look so soft. And I bring it down for them, like, oh, you should touch them. And then they're like, oh my God, it's so soft. I love it. It melts in my hands. It makes them really happy. Yeah. So would you say it's the look of the plushies that draw them in, and then it's the touch that seals the sale? Yes. The look, the cuteness draws them in, and then the texture is like, okay, I need this texture in my life. I need to feel like this texture every day. And then they bring it home with them. So now one of the interesting questions I've also pondered about, it's like nowadays, because you've been recognized for having a lot of Japanese plush, how do you decide what types of merchandise to sell now? At first, it was things that I liked, but I learned not everything I like the market would like, aka the people who visit me at the events. So I would ask for feedback. I would listen to people who come to my booth, kind of creepy, but like I can overhear people talking, commenting on the things that I have and what they wish they would see. So I make a mental note of that. Or I would engage with them like, oh, I couldn't help but notice you mentioned this thing. Can you tell me more about it? And then I make a list of what people are looking for. And then I also read like comments on social media, either on my profiles or other profiles to see what they're looking for. And based on that feedback, I look into what to bring.
So yeah, so it's not. So what I've also noticed, it's not just a matter of like also deciding bringing in the merchandise, that they would like, but I've also noticed that you've also started to create a type of community as well.
Yes, I'm kind of like shocked, kind of like, wow, I didn't expect it to grow, like to have a community of people that share similar interests, like people who are like in their 30s that love plushies and cute things and like to decorate their room and their beds with it. And they talk about the struggles that they face, like either people judging them for being a certain age and liking things that are meant for like kids, younger demographic. And I'm like, no, man, you like whatever you like. It doesn't matter what age you're in.
Now, out of all of the customers that you've engaged, is there a way like you could classify them into groups?
I would say most people come and purchase for themselves, and then it branches off to gifts for other people, like friends for friends. And then there's parents that come and buy for their kids or niece and nephews. That happens a lot.
Is there a difference in the types of merchandise that they buy, like for the people who buy for their friends and versus the parents who buy for their kids? Is there a difference in the types of merchandise they buy?
Generally, no. There might be like, they know the person they're buying from like certain types or animals, colors. But generally it's like the same thing. I've had people even tell me it's like, this is for my daughter, but I'm still gonna play with it. Or like, this is for me, but I know like my mom would want to play with this too, or keep it on her bed, in her room. So it's very versatile, I would say. All ages.
Now, one thing I've pondered about, and also because my experiences I've seen with the large plushes at my workplace, do some people mention that they buy the large plush as a substitute for pets?
Yes, I do get that a lot. Like especially the corgi is the most common plush that people get in substitute for a real corgi because they can't get it for like allergies or like time schedule. So they get this as a substitute. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good idea because at the beginning they're cheaper, right? It's just one price versus like medical care and food. And this just sits on your bed and you can like squeeze it as hard as you want. You ever see something so cute, like an animal, you just want to like squeeze it because it's so cute, but you can't do it because you don't want to hurt the animal? Well, the plushie, you can squeeze as hard as you want and it won't hurt them.
Yeah. And they're already housebroken.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, sit, and then they're like standing there.
Okay, now, to this day and age, a lot of people know that you specialize like in selling really cute Japanese plush, But do you feel that there's something else that makes you unique compared to maybe like other dealers who've also tried to sell Japanese plush? Is there something that makes your business very different compared to others?
From what I notice, I think it's just the frequency that I post things. And I engage a lot with the people in the community, like people who post comments or they share my photos and tag me. I would retweet them or reshare it. From what I noticed from other ones, it's very like, I don't want to like comment on how they're doing and maybe they have reasons to do wait, but for me, I just noticed I post very frequently and I reply to like a lot of the comments.
Okay. Now, now, based on what I've seen at the Littlest Gift Boutique website, you've also posted TikTok videos. So it also made me wonder, are there any types of items that you buy yourself?
Yes. Yes, I do. There's a lot of things when I get, when I see in the catalog, I was like, oh, I'm totally going to order that for myself. And I hope the rest other people would like to, and I keep them. Like one of the things I kept was this.
Oh, the tutorial.
Sleeping tutorial. Kept one. It's so cute. Like how do you not? Like the thing about me doing this business is I just want to share cute things with everyone else that, you know, interests the same as me. So it's very hard to not be attached to the things that I carry because I love them myself. I like when I was at my last job, the jewelry, I have no attachment to jewelry, like fashion and all that. Like I didn't like doing that at all because I don't really care about those stuff. So when I switched to carrying plushies, like wow, like the feeling of doing something was totally different because you enjoy what you're doing.
So yeah, so it's pretty nice that you know, like you're in a business where you get to sell items that you're really passionate about. You know, I remember seeing some of your TikTok videos, mostly involving the sloth plush.
Oh yeah,
You know?
it's a Slothy here. Slothy's a famous sloth that does a lot of the videos with me.
Actually, you know, this does make me wonder. So, what usually happens? Like, where do you usually store all your newly delivered inventory?
So it's mostly all in my garage or in my basement.
Oh.
And it's super packed right now because I had a lot of stuff coming in for the coming cons, like Otakuthon and Anime North. But unfortunately, because of all the events being canceled, it's all pretty much sitting there right now.
Yeah. And actually, this does bring about some important questions from a business perspective. I mean, on an average year, what is your ratio of the online sales versus convention sales?
I would say it's like 70% at cons and 30% online, which is interesting because I started off as an online, like way before even I started in 2012 at the first AN.
Yep.
I used to sell this just online. But then I thought like, oh, maybe I'll try to sell in person and see what the difference is. And it's a significantly more in online versus, in person versus online.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a benefit you've had with in person because now you've been able to establish a certain rapport with your customers. You know, you created that connection. You know.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
So you know, it does make me think. I mean, like usually when I go to the dealer's room, one of my priorities in terms of dealers is to go to the Littlest Gift Boutique. There's certain things I want to get there. Do a number of customers also have the Littlest Gift Boutique as one of their top priorities in the dealer's room?
Yes, I've had people comment like, "Oh, I can't wait to see you," or "You're one of the booths, or one of the reasons I go to the con." Or there's some people that specifically pay to go to the con just to see our booth, and then after they get what they need, they just leave. And I was like, "Oh my god, that feels really like nice that people would do that, like just to pay admissions just to see us." Because like they can probably save more by just ordering online instead. But I think there's something about in-person transactions that online can't replace, no matter what platforms and stuff we use. I've noticed that in the last few months when I'm trying to translate the plushie experience online, it's just not the same.
Now, one of the things we found we wanted to discuss is that, you know, sometimes there are some people who had a misperception thinking that like all the dealers there that like they're rich, you know, because they make so much money. But I think it's important that maybe you could mention to us, what are the profit margins usually like for you or other convention dealers?
Well, for me, I try to keep the prices the same as a market value. So my margins are all fluctuate. They're all different. When I bring in things, I do research and see what everyone else is selling at, and I see if that matches with to, allow me a little bit profit to grow the business and to cover expenses as well. So it all depends for like the different products that I find.
Now, now, one of the things I've also noticed, like, sometimes I've seen you at different conventions, whether it's at Fan Expo, Anime North, festivals that occur at the JCCC, even at a K-pop convention before,
Yes.
So, do you usually sometimes use some kind of calculation to determine whether setting up a booth at a certain venue is worth it or not?
For me, I don't have a formula or like a calculation of what makes a con worth to try. So if it's I base on my gut feeling and I see what the community is saying. So last year, International Fan Festival was the first year. The booth was very expensive. It's like $1,000 for vendors. It's a different price for artists, but that's usually the standard throughout convention tabling. So because it was local, like in Toronto, my meter of doing it closer to yes of doing it. And then I read the comments online, what people are saying about the event, and a lot of people were giving them a chance because they saw that it was organized by a well-known company, and they also liked the guest lineup. So that further moved the scale to yes of trying it. There are certain cons, even if they've had years of establishment, like let's say Calgary Expo, I was very hesitant to try until like 6 years later because Calgary, I have to fly there, I have to ship stuff there. So the expense of trying those out for the first time was very, very high. Versus first time in Toronto, I'm more likely to do it because I don't need to get a hotel and gas is very reasonable. I can come home to eat. I don't have to eat out. So it's it's a gut feeling and also what the community is saying about the event before I decide to try it.
Now, based on everything you've been selling at the Littlest Gift Boutique, which items usually give you like the quickest inventory turnaround, and which one usually give you the slower inventory turnaround?
I would say the stationary things are slowest. I think it's because it's like not plushy at all. I started off being known for plushies, and stationary stuff I just added on later. So that started off very slow. It's kind of slow too compared to plushies, but I think it just takes a while for me to grow awareness that I carry stationery versus like soft things. Soft things are easier to connect with versus like paper things.
Okay. Now also in the recent years, you've also been selling lucky bags. Could you also mention like how do you decide the items that go into a lucky bag?
Well, lucky bag in general, the way they're created is they're filled with items that aren't performing as well because you have a bunch of them in a bag and it's all at a very discounted price. A lot of people don't mind what color they're getting or what the animal is. They just know that as long as it's cute and functional, they're happy with the contents. I know for me, when I create lucky bags, everything inside is stuff that we carry already. So you wouldn't find anything like random children's book or like broken things inside. Because I've read how some people get lucky bags at cons and they're very disappointed with what they have. Either the value is not good or what they fill inside is very not on par with what they were advertised would be in it. Especially like broken things. I think that's really like unethical to sell, even though like the person is getting it for like $20. It's still their money. I'm not sure how they are able to like put that on the shelf and be like, yeah, that's $20 and feel good about that. I can't do that. I always check to make sure all the stuff is in good condition before I put them in the bags.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I remember I bought one of those large lucky bags at one time, and I shared it with my coworkers. They were very excited with everything that was in it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Now, one of the markets I heard about it had some controversy was the Ottawa geek market. Could you share us some of your experience and thoughts about what happened with the Ottawa geek market?
So the situation that happened with me and all the artists and vendors with the geek market, it was like a wake-up call to us that whatever we sign up for, we need to protect ourselves and know our rights. But basically, Ottawa Geek Market canceled, and they refused to give us our refunds for our tables or even rollover for the next year, as all the other events in Canada have done that for us. So at first they said they didn't have the money to give us back, and I was understanding at first, but what caused me to change my perspective was how they were handling it. So there were other cons that announced that they had no money to give back to the vendors, but the difference was how they handled it to turn things around and being transparent and trying to work with their vendors and artists to somehow recoup some of the costs back. Ottawa Geek Market handled it much differently. Like they were like deleting comments and not answering emails. So it's because of that response that made me feel like, oh, okay, so I don't think I should find this acceptable, right? So it really opened our eyes of how one moment, if everything goes well, the event treats you well, but like when it comes to accountability, they like ignore you. So it's definitely something that taught us to really be careful of what event we sign up for. And the Ottawa Geek Market was like my third or fourth year. So it did not occur to me, because they have like a 9-year reputation. Like it never crossed my mind like they would like treat us like that. So it was definitely a big shock, and it's just like how could you treat us that way when you regularly would talk about how much you care about the community and your artists and vendors. So it's a very frustrating situation to experience.
Now, speaking of frustrating experiences, I remember one of the other things that also happened in the past few years, especially in Ontario and the Quebec conventions. It was the convention thefts from dealers and people in the artist alleys. It's like, how much were you affected from that?
Oh, the thefts? Luckily, I wasn't affected, but I've read stories of those who did, and it was just heartbreaking. Like, you guys, like, you're all day standing and interacting with people, and you're tired, and to find out your day's worth of sales is like gone, like thousands of dollars, like that's devastating. Like, I feel so upset for these vendors and angry at the people who would do this, and we're just all small businesses just like sharing our passions and talents with people, and to have this happen, it feels like a punch in the gut, basically. Unfortunately, these people weren't caught, but it was like I mentioned, the Ottawa Geek Market was another wake-up call that just because we're in a community that is supposed to be like safe and accepting, it doesn't mean outside people can infiltrate and like ruin it for all of us. Like by coming in, they're just regular people that bought a badge and come in and just like check out which vendor artist looks vulnerable and just like go after their money box.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's also important to mention, like if anybody wants to think about like maybe if they want to do set up a table like at a vendors area, could talk with your experience. What is the average range of the cost of tables to vendors at conventions?
They can range from the hundreds to the thousands.
Okay.
So hundreds would be like a small one-day event, and then thousands would be like the bigger corporate multi-day events. So yeah, I remember when I first signed up for Fan Expo, the table was like $800, $900. And at that time I was like, oh my God, $800, $900 for a table. Can I even make that back? Because I was used to like $100, $200. I think the most expensive was like 400 something, which is AN. But as time went on and then I slowly stopped my full-time job and did this full-time, I had to be really careful of how I invest in the events. So that's why if it's like a local, I'm more willing to try versus like across province.
Mm-hmm. On a regular year, how many conventions do you attend?
So last year I did over 30. The year before was like 23, 24 something.
Yeah.
So I think there's more than that, but I can only do, I think this year I would have hit maybe like 35, under 40 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, what's also one of the things I also found interesting is that sometimes the Littlest Gift Boutique is at 2 different conventions on the same day.
Yes. Usually we're in different cities too. So this year, G Anime, which is in Gatineau, was on the same day as Anime Shugatsu in Toronto. So I would have someone in Toronto helping me set up a booth while I was in Gatineau doing the other one.
Mm-hmm.
But the tricky part is splitting the inventory. We would have to split up like the display grills, the tablecloths, the banners, and the inventory itself. And it took a lot of coordinating, because if it's just one event, I can bring everything. But if it's 2, I have to guess. I have to guess what would sell what at each con and how many to bring for each one, just to make sure I can like be able to offer something for everybody that comes by. So that's, I would say, one of my challenges when I do 2 on the same weekend.
Oh, I just looking at a post from Motown. He was asking like if you have plans for new products to introduce that would expand or transform your booth permanently.
Let me reread this. New products to introduce that expand. I'm always looking for new things to try. I don't have anything on my horizon right now. Besides, I want to try to find maybe plushies that are made from like recyclable materials or something more environmentally friendly, like the tags that they use, stuff like that. In terms of transformative, big, nothing that I found really, not yet.
Now, one of the new products that they had in the current year was the Ham Taro Plus. How did that feel?
That was really fun because I grew up watching that show, and to see that I was able to carry nostalgic toys I felt like a big moment for me, because most of the things I carry are like generic cute things, not really from a show or a movie. So to be able to carry things that started off from like a manga, TV show, was something exciting, because it's like something I watched or read, and it's like into a plushie. Actually, let me see if I can get one here. I actually I was taking pictures of them, so I have them accessible. But yeah, it's a very exciting to be able to carry like even like Cardcaptor Sakura or Sailor Moon things, because I grew up watching those.
Oh yes.
So to be able to carry merchandise from it is like very exciting for me. More connected.
Are there any other anime series that you feel that would be worthwhile carrying in terms of merchandise?
Worthwhile. I'm more into the nostalgic anime. I haven't really watched too many new anime. I try to carry Attack on Titan things, but it's I guess it's not the aesthetic of my brand, so people don't really associate me of carrying Attack on Titan things. So I stick with like magical girl things.
Yeah.
I think I would like to carry like Tokyo Mew Mew things
Oh yes.
if I find merchandise for that, but it's not very often that I see that.
Yeah. Oh, in the meantime, could you also show a picture of what your booth would look like at Anime North? So that way we want to show the audience like how it looks different now.
Oh yes. So let's see.
Yeah. Oh yes,
Trying to
and
find it.
Salmon the Bears. I got a question for everybody about this. When you put these bears together, does it look like they're forming some kind of plushie mob?
The 3 back here, the 4 in the front. And they're like this one. This one looks menacing. Like
Yeah.
this is the middle guy is
Yeah.
like the boss, and then these two are like the henchmen.
Maybe it's almost like an evil take of We Bear Bears, you know?
Yeah. I've had people that ask me like, are these bears from the We Bear Bears? Because they're similar.
Yeah.
But
That would probably make an
unfortunately-
interesting picture. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not. They're just a cute character from Japan. But
Although I can imagine if somebody were to use a picture of that, plushes of We Bear Bears against Salmon the Bear and his friends.
yeah.
Yeah, I also understand that there are some plushies that have like a storyline attached to it.
Yes. Just showing you a quick picture. This was in 2015. Here you can see I've really expanded the Japanese plushies. I have a little bit of Pusheen on the side here and some bags that I carried. But in terms of story, yes, Sanex is very famous for the stories that they create for their characters. So you have this character. This is Jinbei-san. Okay, so there's 5 seasons of this character. So the first season we introduced Jinbei-san, the whale shark. He has a little stingray pouch here. Put like a little small plushie in there. And then the second season we get introduced Maigo. He's a little whale calf, baby whale calf. So they're friends. And then in the third season, we have this guy missing his mom. So he made a wish on a wishing jellyfish. I don't have a plushie of that one, but it's a white jellyfish. And then say, "Oh, I wish to see my mom," and then made the mom appear. So that is his mom. And then the fourth season, we have this rainbow jellyfish that Jinbei-san accidentally ingested. I don't know the mortality of the jellyfish, but let's just say it was just in the mouth, nothing swallowed. And then he became Rainbow Jinbei-san. And then the fifth season, I don't have merchandise of that yet. I'm so not familiar what the story is, but I think it has something to do with vacationing, I think. They met some penguin friends. But right now I don't have merchandise of that to show. But yeah, that's the thing about Japanese plushies. They all have stories that come with the plushie.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So right now we're still seeing all the bears. Is it possible to switch to a picture that shows like what your current booth setup looks like? Usually like at Anime North.
Like the new the 2019.
Or what's closely resembles what you currently show.
Okay, let me find. Are you able to see this picture?
Let's see.
Is
Right
this
now we
still the
just
Bears?
it's still the Bears.
Oh, hold on. It got closed.
Here we go.
So it should
Okay,
be two booths.
Yep.
Yes. So this was more or less the current setup. So you can see it's a very big difference from the first booth I had compared to now.
Yeah. And so typically on a booth like this, you usually have like Angie standing on one end, and you're usually standing like somewhere in the middle,
Yeah.
right?
So right here is where I stood. So my very first booth, you can see I had a window where I sat behind and then I would interact. But now with the growing inventory, I can't sacrifice any display space just to sit behind. So I would normally be standing in the middle here or off to the side of the booth.
Yeah,
And then
it's like
give people a chance to like come in and interact with the plushies too.
so yep, I can see this definitely reflects your cord line. I can see all the yeast can plushies there.
Oh yes. I think this was the second year I had yeast cans. I remember the first year what they brought in. I just thought it was cute, like a bread dog, right? Like, let me grab one. Like here's one of the bread dogs. One here. And then you have the pug cupcake. But yeah, it was just a cute bread dog, and it's just squishy. But they went crazy. Like people saw and they're like, oh wow, it's so cute. And then when they touched it, like, oh wow, even better. And then it was like my hot cake of that year.
Yeah.
It was these guys.
Now, I think what might be interesting for to show things in a different perspective, and the things that people don't think about. Okay, so for a venue like Anime North, can you describe what you usually go through, like starting like on Thursday night all the way to Sunday night? Like, you know, how you pack everything, set up everything.
Yeah, so Thursday night is like the chaos night, the sleepless night. Like I've already started packing like a week before too, because there's just so much inventory. So Thursday night is when I like pack the van, and then like I make sure I have the essentials, which is like the racks to display, because they're the first thing that gets set up first. So when I arrive there, I want to make sure I'm able to build the skeleton. If I forget inventory, that's okay. I can go back home and get it. But I make sure like to have the banners, the display, the baskets, tablecloths, and those things. And then I try to get some sleep, which is very hard because you're just on adrenaline, anxiety, because AN is like a huge event, and I feel like it's like a test of my ability to know what my customers like. So I spent like a year searching for things, and I ship them in, and I worry like is the things I look for things that people want. Like they tell me like, oh, I want like more dog plushies, like but specifically what dogs? There's like so many, right? You have like the yeast Ken dogs, you have the Amuse dogs. So it's like pressure to perform well, you know? So I find it hard to fall asleep because of that. And then Friday, I'm waking up like 7 a.m. because I can't sleep anyways. And I don't eat because I'm just so nervous. And I like try to do any last minute checks. And then I drive to the Toronto Congress Center. And then we start unloading things and wheeling them into the hall. And because the event is so huge, I recruit like my family to help me, like my brother, my mom and dad, and my aunt to help me wheel the stuff in. And then once we empty all our cars, we start like building. And then before we built, I already pre-drew a floor plan of the booth setup. Let me see if I can find a copy so you guys can see how it looks like. Like before I built anything, I draw out how I want it to look like.
Mhm.
So it's not only the displays, but it's also where the plushies will go.
Yeah, and then and there's also the storage areas in the booth too.
Yeah. So here you can see my plan for one of the events, which one, this is for Con Bravo.
Mhm.
So I draw out the grills and I write down what in each grill is going to be what plushies. So when I finish building the skeleton, I know exactly where everything goes, so we don't waste time like, oh, where will things go? Because time is precious. Like you only have like 8 hours at AN to set up and stuff, and those time can go by really quickly. But yeah, I can show you a picture of how the back looks like. It's just like boxes and boxes of things stacked on top of each other. Because most people, when they come, you just see the front, like the beautiful setup.
Mhm.
But rarely people see how the back looks like, which is just like boxes stacked on top of boxes, like bags everywhere.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
chaotic. It's like chaotic. But
Yeah.
it's so cozy and soundproof because all the plushies just absorb all the noise. So sometimes when you step back there to like look for something, it's like, wow, it's like quiet.
So wait, so are you saying like if somebody puts like a whole bunch of plush together, they can make it some kind of a soundproof room out of it?
Yes. Yes. But maybe put them on shelves. Don't nail them to the wall or something.
Yeah.
Just have a bunch of shelves and have all the
Yeah.
plushies.
Yeah,
Soundproof.
I think you had a picture that sort of gives you an idea of what it looks like in behind the walls, right?
Yeah, yeah. Let me see. I can share. Are you able to see the stack? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we can see all the big plush there.
Yeah. So here, 3 boxes stacked. So it's easy to access. If I stack them the regular way, I would have to take like these 2 boxes, like these things down, these 2 boxes just to access the bottom. And during AN, everything is chaotic. Things are moving fast. I need to get access to things quickly because I don't want to keep people waiting because they probably have places to go to, panels, photo shoots. So I want to be able to quick grab things. And it's easy for me to see like what I have left. So people come by, it's like, oh, do you have a lot of these left? And then I can be like, one glance, I'd be like, yes, I do, or no, I don't. So it's very, very chaotic. I know I barely eat during AN weekend.
Yeah. Oh yes, but then what happens by the time the dealer's room closes on Sunday at 5,
Oh yeah. By the time, let me see if I can go back to that photo. By the time AN closes, like the 5 o'clock Sunday, I come out from my hole and I stand in the middle of the booth and I do like a stretch, like, oh, it's over, it's done. The excitement is like complete. And then you just feel like free. The feeling, this is how I describe the feeling of AN being over. It's like the last day of school. That's how the end of AN feels for me. The last day of school, you're free, everything's done, it's over. And then now you can look forward to the summer. But the thing is, my summer just started because you have like all these summer events. So I would think like, oh, I'm done. I can just go home and rest and not do anything. I'm like, wait a minute, but I have a convention next weekend that I have to prepare for. But I still take a few days to like rest because it's like very physically and mentally demanding. Because like you're talking to a lot of people, and some of them are asking for a request, so I had to make mental notes and remember to bring certain things. It's like very, very like hustle, but it's fun. Like I don't feel like, oh man, like it's not like school hustle. School hustle, that is effort. This one is more like, oh, like a friend wants this thing, I'm gonna remember to bring it for my friend type feeling.
Yeah. Now one thing that also changed in this year, before in the couple of months before the pandemic, actually in the last holiday season, you had the opportunity to set up a pop-up shop at Queenie's Cards on the Danforth, right?
Yes. It was the first time being in a retail location, so it was super exciting.
So was the environment different setting up a pop-up shop compared to other convention venues?
Yes. Now that you mention it, let me see if I could find a photo, but it was definitely different. You can't have the same convention setup that you have at a con in a retail location. So the major difference was the spacing out of the products. So at the Anime North picture, you can see how everything is jam-packed and full. But for the Queenie's cards, when I did the same setup, people did not interact with my merchandise the same way. So I've noticed that based on people's like behaviors when they're coming, they're not interacting with the booth as much as people at cons are. So they would like stand and look at it like a museum type thing. And then I would be like, oh, you can pick it up and touch and whatnot with the inventory, because they view it as like a display, like not for touching, only for looking. So it definitely, my second time going to Queenie's, I changed my layout to make it more friendly, so more people would interact. I'm going to try to show a picture of how my setup looked like for Queenie's cards, so you can see. It's pretty much what you would see at a convention, maybe a little bit smaller. Tell me if you guys see that. It has like string lights, right? So this was my setup at Queenie's cards. So it's no different than a convention setup. But yeah, I noticed the people who visit retail stores, they like things more spaced out. So I'm gonna find a picture of my Valentine's Day pop-up that I had at Queenie's cards, so you can see the difference in the setup. It's like much different.
While you look for that, I have a curious question. Some people may ask about this. So, in your booth, we could see the capsule machines. Just in case, if people curious, they probably want to know, like, where did you get your capsule machines?
Oh, these ones we ordered directly from Japan. These are just like the miniature versions. I want a full-size one, but they did not have those. Well, I couldn't really bring those to cons. That's the tricky part. That's one reason why I want to get a physical store, so I could bring in like a real capsule machine or a real claw machine. So I'm just gonna launch this photo here to show the difference between Christmas pop-up at Queenie's and my Valentine's pop-up. You can see the difference in display. Like everything is more spread out. There's more breathing room in between. I'm not used to that kind of setup because for cons you only have like one shot to grab someone's attention. So you want to fill it with as much stuff as possible. But for retail environment, it's like a different buying mentality, which is very interesting to learn.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting. It's very interesting. Like how, as I said, how things really change between a convention setting and a retail setting. Now, beforehand, I asked you like how do you decide what merchandise to buy, but I also remember that you've had there are times that you've traveled to Japan. Did you see anything in Japan that also gave you inspiration on merchandise to buy?
Yes, it was definitely very helpful to see some products in person, because online when I'm ordering from Japan, it's only pictures. So it's hard to tell dimensions. Texture is the biggest thing when ordering, especially for plushies. So when I was in Japan, I was able to be up and close and personal with some of the items. So I'm like, oh, wow, this is a really nice item. So now I'm more inclined to bring it in than before, because I know how it feels and I know customers would like feeling it. So it's a great opportunity to have a first-hand experience with a lot of the items.
Okay. At this point, I want some members of the panel also to have the opportunity to also ask any additional questions as well, if there are any out there.
Yeah, any questions I can answer.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So Tia has one. Like you can say, asking why did you want to sell their leftover stuff? Oh, he has a couple of them. So first one is, why did you want to sell their leftover stuff?
Because I felt the products that they had that weren't selling at to their retail clients had potential to be sold to the anime convention, like the people that attend. Because I think sometimes she ordered things for like a younger crowd, and most of her customers, retailers, were of an older crowd. So I figured I could help her move some inventory by showing the product to different people.
Okay. Yeah, so do you also want to know, how do you determine your booth location?
Most times I can't pick where I want to be, but I can make a note like, oh, I want to be like a certain area of the floor plan. So they release a floor plan and you kind of choose like the general, either specifically which booth, like your top 3, or you'd be like, I want to be closer to the entrance, closer to the washroom, or I want to be near this vendor, and they try to accommodate. But once you've got in, like for Anime North, you can choose to stay where they put you, or you can choose to ask them to move you somewhere else. So because I like my location in AN, it's close to the washroom, it's close to the loading docks, it's easy to tell people how to find you, I decided to just stay there.
Okay. So T also has like, are these booths worth it? Is it profitable?
I would say most of them, yes. You're able to sell enough to cover the expenses of the booth and the people that are helping, the gas to get there, food and all that, and to cover the inventory. So I would say most of them. Some of them are not, so I have to decide if I want to come back to try again, because sometimes every year is different. So some years you have a bad year, some are good. So maybe you were unlucky to try that event during the bad year. Or if, like, let's say I've been to AN and last year was very bad. So I would have to think about the pattern of sales. Like, is it consistently bad, or it's just one year we'll try again and see what happens? And then also review why it did bad. Like, is it because of things I offered or didn't offer, stuff like that.
And so Tia also asks, what are your goals for the future?
One of my main goals is to get a physical location. I would love to create a physical environment where people can come hang out. And also like maybe host events as well. just to create like a cute location to be at. I know Mississauga doesn't really have that right now, so I would like to be the first person to do that. Like I said, I also want to bring like like full-size gachapon machines and like a claw machine, maybe like offer like some special treats that I partner with like local bakers and stuff.
Okay.
So that's one of my main goals. I would say that's my end goal with all this.
So the end goal is like an end goal with like a physical location with gashapons, claw machines, and special events that take place
like
there.
a piece of Japanese cuteness in the GTA.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the whole like the lighting and the music, and like when you step into the store, you want to be like, am I in Japan right now? That's the kind of location I want to create.
Okay. Now, actually, Moto was also saying more of a suggestion, maybe cute pets that are eating food, maybe like a teacup puppy eating a pizza slice, or hamster face deep in messy cupcake, yeah.
Oh, that reminds me, I do have something that's similar to that. Let me see if I have here. It's a yeast can with a jam jar.
Oh.
And then I have this hot dog guy. The dash hound dog as a hot dog bun with the ketchup.
Did you have any other unique stories from your customers with their experience from buying a plush from you?
I had a lot of people sharing stories. Like I know like personal stories connected with the plushies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know people who are going through like rough times, so they use the plushies that I offer to comfort them. I know that's especially something right now with like pandemic going on, so people like receiving mail, like cute things, like cute plushies and stuff, just to help them feel better. There are people who are unwell, going through like situations, and they use plushies to help comfort them. And I have people that tell me that they bonded with either friends or family closer through plushies. So I like to think my brand is like a bridge for people, either a bridge to Japan culture itself, a bridge to get to know me, a bridge to other people who share the same experience through plushies, or a bridge to help them get closer to people in their life.
Okay. So Tia has, speaking of the COVID, so Tia was asking, what are the plans now with the COVID restrictions?
I'm just continuing trying to create a lot of content online. So entertainment, which is what I've been doing with Slothy here with the TikToks or like skits and stuff. I would create a lot of YouTube videos of products for review. Right now I have like a bunch of them already on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to be a more Instagram live, Facebook live by doing unboxing and stuff. So I'm trying to be more available online, showing the products or some experiences. I think the hardest part is trying to translate like textures over the screen. It's like it's hard to describe what I'm feeling besides it being soft, fluffy, and stuff like that.
I got a weird question. So who would win in a fight? The giant plush sloth or the band of Sam and the Bear and his friends?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's see. Well, this is how Slothy looks like, and this is Sam and the Bear. I don't know, what do you guys think? Who would win? I mean, I wouldn't want them fighting because they're friends, right? You can't fight with friends. Sam is like, get off me.
It's strange though. When I remember when you were telling me the stories about Sam and the Bears, like how each of them were they're holding their favorite food, and and one of the bears was holding a baby seal.
Yes.
Like, oh dear God! It's like, wait, I kept thinking, wait, maybe there's another story behind that.
I would like to think so. These bears, their names are named after their favorite food. This one's honey. This one is seal. And then we have salmon. And then I have one more. Apple, which is the brown bear. But this one is more sad because it has a face. It's a seal.
Oh.
I would like to think he was hungry, he found a seal, but the seal was so cute and vulnerable that the polar bear decided to not eat him and just be his friend instead. Maybe
That's
the
what
same thing with the salmon.
Yeah. One thing I've always pondered about from my coworkers. So there are times I'm always buying the hamsters, but for some strange reason, a lot more people are always attracted more to the gray hamster than the other colored hamsters. Has that happened with other customers as well? That they're more attracted to the gray hamster than the other colored hamsters?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I think maybe because the gray is more aesthetically pleasing. I would think that the brown hamster would have done the best because it's such a standard hamster color. But yeah, it seems like the gray one does the best.
Yeah, that's always wondered. So because usually on your plush, you usually have like a group of animals, like you have a group of sloth, a group of rabbits. Has always happened like there's always like one particular color in the group that people like more than the others. So,
oh yeah, that happens a lot.
So,
that happens a lot.
So what's more likely to happen? They're going to buy more of that individual color, or are they going to buy everybody in the group?
They tend to go with their favorite color first. And when they come back and they have some like leftover change, they might get a different color. But most people go for their favorite color first because those naturally always sell out. I think slowly people understand like our booth is very different from what you see from other plushie booths because we don't restock. Like once all of it's sold out, that's it. I can't even reorder from Japan if I wanted to because they also have limited runs. So people learn to come to the booth right away to get the one they want. Otherwise, if they wait too long, the color they want will sell out.
Yeah, actually, Motown has some questions as well. He said, "Do color schemes play into marketability?"
Yes. I think it's evident, like when I take pictures of my booth fully packed, that the pictures perform very well, and it makes people more captivated by the feeling they get by seeing all the colors in the picture. That I think affects with marketability. Yeah, the brighter it is, the better. It's just colorful in general. Bright for sure. If it's like too many browns and yellows, the picture doesn't do very well. I think it's just in general, if it's colorful, people like it.
Yeah, it's always interesting what I've seen, like whenever I buy the plushies and I show it to my coworkers, I always find that how they interact with some of the plushies. It's very interesting,
Yeah.
Were there any based on the story like how the plushies like provide comfort for them, but then have you heard about like are there any other stories like where the people buy the plushies for somebody else?
Yes, I have people to come and be like, what do you recommend for like this type of person? Or like, I have a niece's birthday coming up. What would you recommend? And then the common things I would ask is like, do they have a favorite animal, a favorite color? Do they like plushies or they want more like functional things? Functional as in like things they can use for work and school. I know, or like we have things like mugs, so they can use it for drinking water, tea, coffee, stuff like that, or house slippers.
Yeah, actually, Satya had just had an interesting just found out something interesting. He said, looked at your social media presence and found you have the most amount of followers on Instagram. So maybe that could be the platform to focus on instead of YouTube and TikTok. Yeah.
That's very interesting. I know the amount of follower count doesn't really affect much in terms of like visibility from what I've experienced. I think it's good to try to promote yourself on all the social platforms, especially like platforms that don't have as much followers, because it gives you a learning opportunity to be like, what's not working, what is working.
Mm-hmm.
So I did just start TikTok, which is like 3 months ago, versus Instagram was like 7 years ago. So I think at the rate that TikTok is growing has a potential if I'm able to focus more on it. But I think most of us has heard the controversy surrounding TikTok, so it kind of affected my decision to kind of hold off on creating more content on that platform, because I do have some ideas and stories I want to do, but because of that I'm just kind of holding off and see how it plays out, because I think in certain countries they're banned, so I've lost that part of the world from seeing my content. So that's why I would continue to do like other platforms too.
Now, I just said one of the advantages that you've had setting up booth at the conventions is that you've been able to create a distribution list. So once in a while, you also send out like a type of newsletter. Is that correct?
Yes. So I have a newsletter like subscription program, but I don't really use it as often, maybe like once a month or once every few months, as I know people are very tired of receiving emails and stuff. So I like to send them out when there's like relevant information to keep up on, like new arrivals and such. I'm trying to be very delicate with how often I send out emails, because I understand, I mean, for me myself, I'm tired from all the emails I get too. So because I post often on social media instead, because social media is less intrusive, because you post it and if it shows up on their feed, it shows up on their feed, or they can go to your page directly to see the information, versus email is like more like directly into your inbox.
Okay. No. Now, I have one final question. It's like for anybody that want to think about like setting up like a booth at dealers' room and conventions. Do you have any advice to give?
Definitely plan out your layout before you set up. I find a lot of people just wing it and do it when they arrive, and they spend so much time trying to figure out where to put things, and they tend to run out of time. So I do recommend to draw it out first, so they'll know where to put things and save themselves some time, and they can use that extra time to like price things or maybe grab something to eat, take a rest.
Okay. So just checking if there is any other questions that's from our panelists.
So I have 2 fan questions that were submitted. So the first fan question is from Tyson, and he says, first, I love you. Second, is it easier and more affordable for you to table at cons here in Canada than in the States? And which cons was your favorite to table at?
So I'm only stuck with tabling in Canada, because doing cross-border, there's like a lot of paperwork, and it's just like vending at cons is already overwhelming. So to do paperwork and stuff to do to another country will add more on that. So I want to kind of stay away from that for now. So I'm only within Canada, but it's more affordable to be driving distance for sure. You save on flights, and you save on like shipping things to the convention center, because if it's drivable, I just have everything in my van. What was the second part of the question?
The second part of the question is, which cons was your favorite to take last?
Oh, favorite, I would say maybe Otakuthon, because Otakuthon is downtown Montreal. So after you're done, you can just go explore the city, and everything's like walking distance. And there's so many restaurants and places to go to and see. So it's like a little mini trip.
Sounds really nice.
Yeah, which is like one part of the reason why I like doing cons is I get to travel at the same time. So because of doing cons, I was able to travel to like Halifax, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver. Because I don't think if without this, I would be able to travel as often.
It's definitely given you more opportunity to travel across provinces and different cities too. So the second question I have is from Yisken. Would you like to take out Yisken?
Oh, yes. Where is my Yisken here? Here we go.
Hello, Yisken. So Yisken submitted a question and he asked, where are you keeping the rest of my family?
They're safe. Don't worry. Don't be angry. They'll be okay. They're safe with me. See, they're all here. Your whole family's here. There's like so many part of the family. There's like this guy. There's like a mini version of him. So many.
They're all so adorable too.
Yeah. They're safe. Don't worry.
Okay, well, do we have any more questions? Last questions for Jennifer? I don't think so.
Final
I have
thoughts?
a suggestion.
Did someone say suggestion?
Yes, I have a suggestion.
Okay, go ahead. What are your suggestions?
So first of all, thank you so much, Jennifer, for being. I definitely learned a lot. It's so interesting to see your progression and your journey. The suggestion that I had was actually with the marketing behind it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have this crazy thing when it comes to followers. Like the more followers, the better it is. And I know that you meant that you don't want to email them too much. My suggestion is at least to collect as many email addresses as possible. And the main reason is because without the email address, you don't really make any money. So what I mean by that is every social media platform, when you create an account, they ask for your email address. So let's just say, for example, if Instagram had to change a new policy or they had to switch or you happen to lose your account, obviously I don't expect that to happen, but let's say it happened, then all the followers that you have, you lose them. So that's why it's so important to capture their email address, even if you only want to email them once in a while. And know that there's a rule of thumb when it comes to business is at a bare minimum, every email address represents $1. So on a monthly basis, if you have an email address of, let's say 1,000 people, then you're making about $1,000 a month at a bare minimum. So it all depends on, and here's the thing, you can always market to those people based on those email addresses as well. So one of the things that happens is, let's just say I capture Sabrina's email address. If it's the same email address that she uses for TikTok, Instagram, for Facebook, for YouTube, I can easily find that out and I can advertise to her. So that's my 2 cents on it. I'm huge on business and marketing. That's the main reason why I'm sharing this. I'm like super excited about it. So if I offend you, I apologize. That wasn't my intention at all.
Oh no, it's not offend. It's good to have like feedback. I think because my objective with the business, it's more so just sharing cute things with people versus trying to sell to them. Like even especially during pandemic times, I'm posting less salesy type posts and I'm focusing more on posts that bring value to people. So like entertainment or aesthetics, versus like, oh, buy this new thing here, buy this, sale that.
And I agree with you. People don't want to be sold to.
Yeah.
And it's not really about, it's really about how you do it. It's not about what you do. So for example, if I were to come in, I say, and here's a great example. When you talk about reviews of stories, I love that part. I love when you start sharing about the stories that they have like a family, you know, but they, you don't want this family to be left alone, for example, and you share
Yeah.
how they came together. People are very interested in that. And if I were to say, by the way, if you want to get a copy of this or you want to get your hands on this, just here's a link. You can always visit my website, whatever it is. So it's really about how you do it. But if you're constantly bombarding them like buy this, of course it's not going to land. So, so that's the biggest thing. It's when it comes to selling and bringing value. What I realize when it comes to business is how much value can it bring to somebody. And I love one of the stories you shared is right now when people are sick or people are in COVID or they can't even travel to Japan. When you share that this is an opportunity for them to get an experience of Japan by having the plushies, I'm like, oh my goodness, I never thought of that. I never thought that I could have an experience of a mini experience of Japan just by buying one of these plushies. And you can even refer to a specific one that has worked or is a hot item there. So for me, I look at it as like I'm bringing more value by providing these opportunities, especially through education-based marketing. Anyways, that's all I want to share.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Great feedback from everybody. And thank you so much, Jennifer, for sharing and being so candid about your business and your backstory, your struggles, your challenges. Thank you so much. And a big thank you for Martin for asking such great questions.
Yeah.
Very insightful, very informative. Martin.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, in closing, so the last thing I just want to say is thank you everyone for being here. So we're going to announce the winner of the giveaway. All right. And so today we'll be giving away a game on Steam. The game is called Yoku's Island Express, and it is a platforming pinball adventure video game developed by a Swedish studio. The winner will receive the digital key code that they can enter into Steam. So the winner is, drum roll, Motown. Yay!
Yay!
Cool.
All right. So much. So Motown, I will contact you on Meetup, and I'll send you the digital code for that. And lastly, if you guys enjoyed this panel, don't worry, we will be doing more panels. Jennifer will return to talk to us some more. And in between that, we also have several other events. We have a movie discussion that we're doing on Sunday about the Naruto Shippuden movie. We also have a regular manga club. We have a regular weekly anime series club where we choose a series and we come together and talk about it. So definitely check out more of our events, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you again to Jennifer and Martin. If you like Jennifer and the Littlest Gift Boutique, please give her a like, please give her a follow on all of her social media, every single one of them. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And Sophia,
Thank you.
well. All right.
Thank you all for attending. You know, we wanted to try something different, and you know, we hope this is going to lead to you know, other similar events as this.
Yes, that is what we want for us. All right. So, any final words, Jennifer, Martin, Murrow?
Thank you. This is really fun. I'm glad I'm able to have a platform to share my experience with. I think it's good that people know what goes behind. It's not just we put stuff out and it sells. Like there's a lot of thought process that goes behind setting up and what to order, and it's not as easy as it might seem, you know. So
Yeah.
thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah, you know, the interesting twist is that, you know, at a convention, I don't think we've ever had an opportunity to do something like this, to show things in a dealer's perspective, you know. So I'm glad we had this opportunity to do this.
Yeah, because normally at a con, I wouldn't have time to step away from my booth to even host my own panel. So this is a great time when everyone is at home. Cons are canceled, so have an opportunity to share our stories.
So yes, thank you so much. So we'll all be signing off now. This session, this panel is recorded, so I will share it on Meetup and I'll share it on Discord if anyone wants to. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend. Take care. Ta-ta.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.